What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Maple Leafs Media. As always, I'm Jake Varco, and what a start to the series that was for the Toronto Maple Leafs, defeating the back-to-back defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning by a score of 5-0. How are you doing tonight, Clarky?
I'm doing great after that win, and yeah, you couldn't say it any better. 5-0, dominating, convincing win by the Toronto Maple Leafs. But yeah, after seeing that tonight, I'm in a great mood.
Absolutely, and there's a comment I want to get into right away. Leafs 604 comments, Tampa played like garbage tonight. Lol. Super stoked for the win, but they were way off tonight. And uh, there's two ways that you can assess this victory. Is this good Leafs or is this bad Lightning?
Yeah, Leafs 6. I think he might be, or she might be a little skeptical about the Leafs in years past because he or she is definitely blaming tonight on bad Tampa. And I think we have to call it what it is. Tampa definitely did not come out with their sharpest tools in the shed. They looked dull tonight. For a lot of moments of the game, they had a lot of opportunities on the power play, didn't take advantage, but at the same time, Leafs took advantage of their opportunities and they looked pretty good tonight. So I believe it was a combination of both, but in sports it takes two to tangle, so definitely Tampa did not play up to their ability tonight.
And I'm with you, Clarky. I do think that it was a combination of solid, motivated, good Toronto Maple Leafs play tonight, combined with uh, poor effort from the Tampa Bay Lightning, who just didn't look like themselves tonight. And I really think that a big factor in this game was the whooping that the Toronto Maple Leafs got just about a week and a half ago at Amalie Arena in Tampa Bay when they got destroyed 8-1 by the Lightning. So I really feel that was fuel to the fire for the Maple Leafs tonight, and they really used that to uh, kickstart this victory.
Yeah, you said it best. I mean, we didn't see too much of that style of game tonight, except for the one glimpse in the third, as well as some scrums in the second. But it was definitely tamed compared to that game you referenced a week and a half ago. But yeah, Tampa, we know they're going to come out firing. They're two-time defending Stanley Cup champions, so they got the stuff. Toronto's got to keep it up, and we know we're going to see a better Tampa Bay Lightning later in the series for sure.
Absolutely, we are. This was not Andrei Vasilevsky's best game, and we know that he has plenty more to offer in goal for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And that lineup, you'd expect them to produce a little more than 0 goals per game throughout the remainder of this series, which, I mean, I think that's going to end up being a fact. The Tampa Bay Lightning will score some goals in this series.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of great comments coming in here too, eh? Um, Dorky Dave says, great game tonight. AC, go Leafs, go. JB says, Leafs are not going down without a fight. Something tells me Leafs take this in 6. DaCosta says, foot on the gas. Boys, exclamation mark. I like it. A lot of great comments coming in here. Keep it up. It's celebration time. Not too early, though. It's only one game.
Yeah, that's the big thing. It's only one game of a best of 7 series. I remember last year when the Leafs held a 3-1 lead over Montreal. I was doing these post-game streams, and people were just saying the series is over. But yeah, pump the brakes. It's one game. Don't get, be excited about the victory. It's a great win, great team win. But let's uh, let's not go overboard here.
Yeah, I remember it was just like yesterday when we were talking about could the Leafs possibly ever blow a 3-1 lead, and we saw what happened. So yeah, I agree with you. It's still very early on, only the first game. So keep calm, but enjoy the win for sure.
Definitely. There's a question here that I want to get to. I thought this was going to be a topic of discussion for tonight's show. Chris Patterson says, what do you think is going to happen to Kyle Clifford? I think probably a suspension for Kyle Clifford. And even if he doesn't, I don't know how much the Toronto Maple Leafs want to put him in the lineup again after 49 seconds of ice time, one hit, and I believe he finished the game with 15 penalty minutes, game misconduct. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, not a good situation to put your team in early in not only the game but the playoff series. That could have been detrimental for the Toronto Maple Leafs team's success, and they're lucky their penalty kill unit brought their A game tonight.
You're right. I think, a little bit of honest has to be on Keith too. I mean, we know what's going to happen when you play Clifford in the lineup. He's not there to score goals. He's there for really only one reason, and that's to bring that grit and toughness and force a role. And at the end of the day, yeah, Clifford, he should have known better. It was a dirty hit, and it was on the numbers. Call it what it is. He's probably going to get suspended, and who knows if he's going to play the rest of the playoffs. Not because of suspension, but just because maybe Keith says, okay, like that put us in a 5-minute hole on the PK. If that happens again, we could blow a game. So, the Leafs got lucky tonight on the penalty kill early. Played very well because that could have gone another way. Tampa's power play down the stretch got really hot throughout the season, so we're lucky tonight. But yeah, I agree. I mean, Clifford knows better, especially a guy that's won a cup before. It was unfortunate to see because he's going to get suspended probably.
Most likely, you'd expect that, and everything in the playoffs is under the microscope even more than ever before. There's less games being played around the league, so it's under the microscope more in the sense that the National Hockey League Players Association, their safety department, they get to watch games more closely, and it's also under the microscope more from a management perspective because the player makes a vital mistake like that, that could be the downfall of your team in in a long season. You don't want it to come to an end because of a stupid penalty at a stupid time.
Agreed. Agreed. Frank Racinel says Clifford will get a fine. There was no severe injury, so he's saying it's just going to be a fine. So maybe it won't be a suspension. Who knows? It'll probably come out in the next couple days. But either way, not a smart play. Now we're getting some questions too about Spezza. Do you think Spezza is going to come in?
I would I would expect Jason Spezza to find his way in the lineup at some point in the playoffs. He was held out tonight, healthy scratch, and I understand why the Toronto Maple Leafs are doing this. I understand their logic. Yes, he was a leader on the team in the playoffs last season. He's been a bit of a spark plug for this team at down times. I think back to the Columbus series in the NHL bubble when Jason Spezza dropped the gloves, sparked a comeback for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But uh, he he just hasn't been producing at a high level this season. He's had his moments, and I think he'll have his moments in these playoffs, but I don't expect him to be in the lineup every game.
Yeah, father time catches up to everyone, but I mean, Spezza, I think he's 5 points off 1,000. So he's got a couple milestones. I don't think his time's finished in the NHL yet. But again, you're right. He has not been too sharp lately. AC says, yeah, Spezza just doesn't fit in right now, and that could be the system too. With some of the additions at the deadline with Blackwell, as well as some of the great play from other supporting casts. Maybe it's just not, it's not a piece of the puzzle right now. But I think Spezza does have something to contribute still.
And yeah, I think that he's a veteran. He's been around a long time. Out of anyone on this team, he's got the most desire to win a Stanley Cup. He's been playing the game for such a long time. He's chasing that ring right now, and I feel as if that's something that the Toronto Maple Leafs could definitely utilize going forward in this playoffs in bursts.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
So tonight, great hockey for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the three stars of the game probably gonna have some disagreements here. I guess we'll start 1 till 3. We'll go
Let's
reverse
hear
order.
everyone's 3 stars too while we're doing it. Everyone share your 3 stars of the game.
So first star of the game, Austin Matthews, a pair of goals and an assist. The numbers right there on your screen speaks for themselves. Austin Matthews, after all the criticism he received for his playoff performance last season, is trying to silence the critics with one game here, but it's going to take uh, three more victories for the Leafs, and Austin Matthews is going to have to contribute to them.
Period. after everything you said. Clearly, first star of the game, statement, and he's looking sharp.
Definitely. And what momentum to carry over from a 60 goal season. I mean, if people were worried about it, maybe don't worry so much about Austin Matthews scoring because he's going to score goals. Second star of the game, another player that is in that same boat, uh, probably even more so than Austin Matthews is. Mitch Marner really trying to silence the critics here tonight. A goal and a pair of assists. A fantastic performance from the 97-point scorer this season.
First goal in 18 playoff games. Vital on the penalty kill tonight, and he looks sharp overall. Can't say anything more.
Yeah, Mitch Marner. I feel as if he really can continue to play the way he did in the regular season, the Toronto Maple Leafs should is the word I'm going to emphasize there. They should have playoff success if Mitch Marner continues to perform the way he did in the regular season.
That's a big should.
Big time. And third star of the game. This is where I think the debates are going to come in. I know Jack
Yeah.
Campbell had the shutout tonight, and that's great.
Yeah.
However, I don't think Jack Campbell stole the game for the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. I'm going to go with Jake Muzzin as the third star. He had the game-winning goal, the opening goal of the game, his 10th career playoff goal, 6 hits, a block, and 2 shots on goal.
Yeah, I think you're going against consensus here. I think almost everyone I've seen have Campbell's or third star, but I mean, it's up for debate. I mean, you can, if you look at the stat line, for sure, Campbell's the third star. You could even make an argument for second or first because he got a shutout. You know, he did as much as he could in net tonight. But at the same time, I think, Campbell's going to get his credit throughout the series because if the Leafs are going to win any more games, he's probably going to play another part. So I think he'll be on the star sheet throughout the series. So they give it to a guy like Muzzin tonight. I'm not too fussed about because I think this is a guy, like you said, 10th career playoff win, winning goal, and Stanley Cup winner. He's coming back from a long battling injury. And, he's looked like he's starting to bring his game together. Looked great tonight with Brody. So I think you can make the argument for Muzzin too. Also Campbell, but, he's going to get his credit throughout the series. If the Leafs are going to win, Campbell's going to have a lot of great performances. So I'm sure we'll see him first or second star later down the series. Knock on wood, if the Leafs continue to perform.
Certainly, I think that if the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to win this playoff series, you're going to see Jack Campbell in the 3 stars at some point in the series. And I know he had the shutout. Usually, that is an automatic one of the first 3 stars. But I really feel Jake Muzzin's performance tonight is one that needs to be recognized. This is a guy who's suffered sustaining injuries throughout this season. It's been a real mess for him. When he was on the ice, he wasn't particularly great for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And if he can get into the form of Jake Muzzin a couple of years ago, that's a massive asset for this team in the playoffs.
Agreed, 100%. We also got some Kerfoot love in here. There's a few comments talking about Kerfoot. I think Leaf fans were impressed by Kerfoot tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Kerfoot looked solid out there, and this is a guy that I've also been critical of at times. There's times where he kind of goes unnoticed, but that was not the case tonight.
Yeah, it looked like he plugged in nicely with Matthews and Marner on that top line. And he was double shifting too, playing on that fourth line, especially when Clifford got kicked out. So, yeah, he had a great game overall, a lot of speed to him. So, I mean, Kerfoot's kind of, at least for me, sometimes I look at him and I think, why did the Leafs trade for him in the first place and why he's getting paid this much money? But then, he has glimpses of really good performances like tonight. And it reminds you that, he is an asset to this team like anyone else.
Certainly. And AFC mentions another name. 37 had a game too. So Timothy Liljegren, the young defenseman with a right-handed shot, he came close to cashing in on a goal late in that game. It was a meaningless goal, but almost scored nonetheless. And I think that Timothy Liljegren.
I thought that was a goal.
Well, clearly not, according to the NHL rules. And You know what? Timothy Liljegren has been really stepping up his game in the past few months.
I agree. I mean, there's a few other comments about him. Wolf Tank says, "I don't want Hall. I don't want Hall to play. Keep the defense just the way they are. Let Lily play the series." So, you know, I was a big Hall supporter for a long time, but lately I've kind of turned the corner a bit, and seeing Liljegren, especially playing with Giordano, that veteran experience that he's playing alongside, he just looks like a calmer player, more composed, and playing with a lot of conviction in everything he does, whether it's on the offensive end or defensive end. And like you said, he created some opportunities tonight. He's shifty and he's blocked a lot of shots. He's playing in the lanes. He's doing a good defensive work. So I'm happy with what I've seen from him for sure.
Yeah, Timothy Liljegren has really stepped up his game over the past few months. We know that he's a high flying defenseman, but I feel that he's really excelled, uh, taken the next step in his own end defensively, and that's something that's obviously vital for a young defenseman to do. In terms of as for Justin Hall, I feel as if he can be a really solid defenseman at times. He's a streaky player, and then there's times where he just looks awful. And the Toronto Maple Leafs can ill afford to have him go on one of those runs where he just doesn't perform. So holding him out of the lineup might not be the worst thing, but there's also potential for Rasmus Sandin to come back in the future. So uh, it's going to be interesting to see how the lineup shakes up for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I feel as if we're going to see a rotation throughout this playoff run, presumably.
Well, you're saying about, the thing about Hall is he has been solid past year and then he's had some shaky moments too. And do I have to remind you of shaky Leaf defensemen in the playoffs? Does Jake Gardner ring a bell? He was at times, such a great skater and a solid defenseman for the Leafs for a few years, but just a guy that in the wrong moment choked. So, and he got scapegoated for sure, but we don't want that to happen with Hall.
No, certainly not. We don't want that to happen with any defenseman on the Toronto Maple Leafs. But uh, from my recollection of last year's playoffs, it wasn't Justin Hall that was making the costly turnovers for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know, I know,
so I
I
know.
know.
I'm just yeah. I feel as if this is going to be an interesting rotation throughout the playoffs because it is a long grind and it's a grueling process with a lot
There's
of
going to be
physicality.
injuries as much as we don't want to. We saw tonight. Like, I don't know if anyone else saw us, but Riley with his hand, he was
Hmm.
he was trying to move his hand around. Looked like around here he was throwing some punches at helmet, so that that's going to hurt. So
Definitely.
that could be an example. I don't think he's injured, but something like that happens. This is going to be scrappy. Like Keith said, it's going to get violent. That's what he said. So it's going to be a rough series for sure. It's just the start of it.
And Clarky, do you feel that what you just said about Sheldon Keefe saying this can be a borderline violent series, do you feel that that has something to do with why he kept Jason Spezza out of tonight's lineup and had Kyle Clifford playing?
For sure. For sure. I think you don't say that without trying to intimidate the other team a bit. You don't quote unquote say borderline violent in a presser without knowing the repercussions of what that message sends to the opponent. And a team like Tampa, they're not necessarily the dirtiest or the scrappiest in the league, but they've tried to push Toronto over too, like a lot of other teams in years past. So I think he was definitely trying to send a message there.
I think that it was, yeah, it was a preconceived message there, and then the message was really received post game in the Tampa Bay Lightning locker room after they lost 5-0, and the Lightning couldn't push around the Toronto Maple Leafs like they thought they'd be able to. Uh, they have Corey Perry, who was on the Montreal Canadiens last season. You know, Corey Perry's probably in that locker room telling them, all we have to do is contain Matthews and Marner and play physical, get under the skin of these guys. But it's up to the Toronto Maple Leafs to be different this year.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I mean, even like that scrum, JB sending a comment about, do you think Maroon cheap shot on Riley shouldn't have been a suspension? No, I don't think so. I think that was just scrum. Maybe it was a cheap shot, but I don't think so. But yeah, Tampa does have a few players on their team, like Maroon, like Perry, like some of their big defensemen that they don't care. Like they will push Toronto around. So I think Keefe was trying to send a message that we're not going to get pushed around, and maybe that contributed to Clifford coming out like a raging bull and checking that guy on the letters. So I mean, it is what it is. It's going to be scrappy. It's playoff hockey, but definitely is trying to send a message.
Absolutely, and they did send a message early on in this series. Now it's up to them to continue uh, sending these messages because we know how the we know how the playoffs work by now. It can change with the snap of a finger, and the Toronto Maple Leafs game 2 is going to be so important for this team. If they can take a 2-0 lead in this series heading into Tampa Bay, that would definitely be ideal.
Agreed. I mean, we got 5 goals tonight against Vasilevsky. He was streaky at times throughout the season, but he's still an all-star goalie. He's still one of the top guys in the game at his position. So who knows if Toronto's going to be able to squeak 5 by him every night. So I think it was nice to see him get lit up tonight. But I mean, yeah, got to take advantage of every opportunity because, like we were saying at the start of the show, the top of the show, that this was a combination of good Toronto, but Tampa was brutal tonight at some points. Tampa was brutal.
Definitely, and I don't think it's going to be a 5. I don't think you're scoring 5 goals on Andrei Vasilevsky uh, every night, and it doesn't really happen very often either. So the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's a great momentum building block, but you really have to continue building on it. Pour on the goals for as long as you can, and next game is going to be vital for the outcome of the series. Wolf Tank saying yes, Bunting coming back is going to boost the team too. And Wolf Tank, it has been reported that Bunting's expected to come back in this first round series, so we don't know when that is.
One thing's gonna okay.
That could be game 2, could be game 7. We don't know, but whenever he comes back, that's certainly a massive boost for this team.
I mean, let's say I guess it depends how the series goes, but if you're Toronto Maple Leafs management and Bunting himself, like, are you rushing to get him back? Are you trying to get him back as soon as possible, or you think the Leafs should take more of a cautious approach and say, we think we're going to make a deep run in this playoffs. If we don't need him this series and the series is all going all right, we're going to let him rest.
Well, the way I would look at it, say he just theoretically is unavailable for game 2, and he's told he can play game 3 if he wants to. Uh, the Leafs holding a 2-0 lead after game 2. Theoretically, uh, game 3, I might look to hold Michael Bunting out and then put him in. I don't know. I feel as if every game is obviously so valuable at this point in time, but if he's unavailable next game, I feel the Toronto Maple Leafs have a 2-0 lead going into Tampa Bay. Then you hold him out game 3.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And then other injuries, I think that's it on Toronto, right? Hall's not injured. Spezza's not injured.
Sandine is.
What about Tampa? Is Bogosian injured, or is he just a healthy scratch? Do you know that, or should you want me to look that up?
I'm actually not certain on that, so
I'll look it up.
I believe so. Zach Bogosian.
Because he was scratched tonight.
Yeah, there's an article a couple weeks back. No,
Might be banged up. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
It's not. It's whatever. But not I'd like to see him because I think he's a good player. But like I'd expect to see him play in this series for sure.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, if he's available in this series, you'd think that the Tampa Bay Lightning would play him against a former team that I'm sure he knows a lot about their offensive tendencies just from seeing them every day in practice last year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know who said it, maybe Frank Rusty Nails, but no, he's like a guy like Giordano where their experience is so valuable down the stretch in this playoffs. Like the physicality down low on the boards. Like I saw Giordano tonight, end of the game, just pinning Stamkos, containing him, controlling the puck and breaking out. Like it's things like that where these veteran guys bring to the table. So if Bogosian comes back, I think that's going to make Toronto's task a little bit more difficult.
Definitely. And there's a question about uh, what if Rasmus Sandin came back from injury? Who do you take out of the Maple Leafs lineup defensively? And honestly, I'm having a hard time answering that question because do you take out Labushkin and sacrifice someone on the right side and then have to move someone up with Riley? I don't really like that idea. Uh,
I
I'm not
honestly,
sure.
I don't think you touch them right now.
I don't
You
think you
can't
can.
touch the defense right now.
I don't think
After
you can.
shutout performance, you can't tinker with it.
No,
I
I
mean,
don't.
Sandin's going to have his opportunities. There are guys like, in the future, Sandin's young. There's some veterans on that blue line that won't be there anymore. So I don't know. I don't think you can tinker with it. Now, that being said, if the Leafs get lit up next couple games or it changes course, then you can see to move them in the lineup. But right now, a shutout performance, how can you mess with that defense?
I don't think you can. And Wolf Tank says defense is the best it's been in years, and I agree with that. The way that the defense, especially since the addition of Ilya Labushkin and then Mark Giordano, this defensive unit has really been clearing pucks away from the net, clearing rebounds away, and I like what I'm seeing from them.
Yeah, I agree. If you haven't already, too, smash that like button. Jake really appreciates it. Uh, you know, hit that notification bell. Haven't said it in a long time because we haven't been on, but it's always a great time being on. Remember to smash that like button because Jake really, really appreciates it. He sheds a tear every time he sees it. Like,
Just a little bit, yeah. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And also, if you're watching this on Facebook, share this video, tell a friend to tell a friend, and yeah, I mean, great start to this playoffs for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Game two will be on Wednesday, and that will also be at Scotiabank Arena. So, Clarky, what are your expectations for game two?
Wednesday night, Scotiabank Arena, 7 or 7:30. 7:30 again.
I think it's actually at 7.
7. Okay. Okay. Uh, I'm gonna say. So I don't know what your predictions were before the series or what anyone else's were. I said Leafs in 7. I got to stick to that. So given I said Leafs in 7, I think I'm gonna say Leafs still win tomorrow night or Wednesday night. I'm gonna say Leafs win. It's gonna be a closer game. I'm gonna say 5-3. But then after that, I think they're gonna drop 2 in Tampa. So I'm gonna say the Leafs win them on Wednesday night, but it'll get tougher after that. 5-3 win.
Clarky, I like your prediction, and I'm
As
trying to
long as the
see.
Leafs don't go up 3-1. I just don't want them to go up 3-1 because we know what happens then.
Yeah, I mean, we do. Or 4-1, even worse. Or 6-1 against Florida this year. That's enough of that though. So, uh I'd expect a much more tight game defensively from both sides. More specifically, the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think Andre Vasilevsky is going to come back, probably stand on his head after a downright poor performance, and I don't necessarily think it's going to be. I don't want to say who's going to win the game because I don't know, but I think it's going to be like a 3-2, 3-1 type of game where it's just a slowed down version of tonight.
I mean, okay, I could see that, but the reason why I still think the Leafs are going to win the next game is just like the energy in the building. Like it just seemed like the Leafs tonight were playing with a boost. Like the whole game, they were the first to the puck. They were winning the up close, down low battles. They were out hustling Tampa. Tampa looks slow and old tonight. Now I know that they're two-time defending Stanley Cup champs, and I'm not disrespecting them. I think they're going to win some games in the series for sure. But tonight with that crowd, it it's hard to see them slowing down at this point with their momentum right now.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. The Toronto Maple Leafs, I think that the biggest challenge in the series for the Toronto Maple Leafs isn't going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think the biggest challenge for the Toronto Maple Leafs is going to be overcoming their own demons, overcoming themselves and the pressure that they're putting on themselves in this series. What I saw from them tonight in game one, they didn't look like they had any pressure on them. They just looked like they were going out there playing hockey. That's what they need to keep doing, one game
Yeah.
at a time.
Yeah, I 100% agree. They can't let their demons get to them. Toronto media, the sharks like us, you and I, they worry about our opinions so much. No, I'm just kidding. But we got some Sorry, what were we gonna say?
Well, I mean, there are some players that let it get to them more than others, and that
Yeah,
that does have
it's
an
a, it's a,
impact on
it's a
performance
different
sometimes.
sport, but I think of like Kevin Durant. He gets mad when he sees stuff from like crazy guys like Stephen A. Smith. He'll freak out. So some players just let it get to them, but I think the Leafs this year are staying strong. We got some comments about the crowd. I have to agree that the crowd was good tonight. The crowd was really energetic tonight. I was surprised to see it.
It was definitely. I mean, you know what? I haven't seen Scotiabank Arena like that in quite some time. I feel like probably since we were kids and the Maple Leafs were having some success in the playoffs. I really don't remember it being like that, and maybe that's because we haven't seen a home playoff game in 2 years, 3 years now. But that
Well,
crowd was that crowd was electrifying.
you and I were at the game. It was 2 weeks ago, and the Leafs were already going to make the playoffs and everything, but it's not like that. They're not
No,
even close.
it was
Like
different. It was definitely different. I mean,
it was.
I've gone to like 4 or 5 home playoff games this year. The atmosphere, nothing like that. It was honestly a little bit discouraging seeing the fans in the crowd earlier in the season.
What?
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
this.
I'm
I thought
sorry.
you meant
In the
now.
regular season, what we saw tonight was very encouraging from the fan base, and kudos to them. Definitely bringing life to the arena, and uh, definitely
Yeah,
that has to be a boost for the players.
yeah. I mean, I'm happy as a Leaf fan too. I'm a Raptors fan. Don't get me wrong, but it just seems like all the time. Oh, Frank Rice just says the crowd was loud all game. Haven't heard that in the past. I agree. And I mean, like I was saying, with the Raptors, they always seem so energetic. And the Leafs, not that the crowds haven't been energetic in the past, but it just seems like that energy hasn't been matched in the past. But tonight, I mean, I would have gone in there with some earplugs. If I brought, at least if I was like, trying to protect my hearing, I probably wouldn't have worn them. But, it was loud in there tonight. So you probably couldn't hear the person talking next to you.
Well, that's like Drake when he brings his kid to a Raptors game. He's got the big
He's got the, yeah.
headphones like this over his ears just to protect his hearing. And maybe that wouldn't have been a bad idea tonight. I don't know. Wasn't there, but if anyone here in this comment section was there tonight, let us know more about the atmosphere because it looked great on TV.
Oh, yeah.
And again, if you haven't already, please make sure you smash the like button and hit the notification bell to be notified every time new content's being released on Maple Leafs Media. I'm going to be doing post game shows after every game of these playoffs and more content coming your way as more things happen throughout.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, so you asked me about my prediction. What does everyone else think? What are all the predictions for Wednesday night, game 2? I think I said 5-3 Leafs. I'm going to stick by that. That was the top of the head. 5-3 Leafs. I'm going to say it's going to be similar tonight. You're going to see a couple of goals from Matthews. You're going to see a goal from Marner. I think Nylander's going to get a goal, and then some supporting crew maybe. I think the Leafs are on a roll right now. That crowd, if that crowd's as loud as it was tonight, Leafs have to win. Leafs have to win.
I'm going to say, I was trying to steer away from a score prediction full on, but I'll say it's going to be 3-1 Toronto with an empty net goal at the end of the game, with 56.4 seconds remaining to be exact. And you know what?
What?
I think that I think it's going to be a goaltending duel. I really do. I think it's going to be a defensive showdown, and I think that the Toronto Maple Leafs winning in a goaltender duel like that, a 2-1, 3-1 type of game, would be massive for the confidence of Jack Campbell, knowing that he can go head to head with Andrei Vasilevsky, the best goaltender in the world.
Yeah, I just want to see Campbell. I think he has confidence. Don't get me wrong. Shutout tonight. He definitely is riding a high, but I just like to see Campbell continue.
Definitely, definitely, it was a solid performance tonight. Wasn't called upon too much, but if he can continue just making saves one at a time, the Toronto Maple Leafs team is going to be just fine. They're gonna get the goal support. We know that. They're gonna score goals.
Probably. I mean, never jinx it. I mean, last year what happened? The production dried up. It was a drought last year, and down the stretch, and the top guys just disappeared, except for Nylander. Always remember Nylander had a good postseason last year, but we didn't have Tavares. Top guys were dried up. 3-1 Leafs game 2. Okay, we got to see some more come in here. Let's see some more predictions. 3-1 Leafs game 2. You're predicting pretty tight goaltending matchup. It seems like maybe that's going to be the case. These are two really good goalies tonight. Vasilevsky just did not have a good night. Tampa overall left him dry out front. He saved a few breakaways, and a few point blank shots too. He made some nice saves, but his stat line was brutal for sure.
Definitely, and I feel like you know what you're right about what you said just about a minute ago when you said last year the Toronto Maple Leafs' problem in the playoffs, it wasn't their goaltending, it wasn't their defense, it was their goal scoring ability, and that's exactly what the problem was. They couldn't score goals to save their lives or their playoff lives. So they're gonna need to score more goals this playoffs, and it's off to a good start.
Yeah, let the goals rain. We don't want a drought this year. We want the goals to rain down on us.
Definitely. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are looking to end another drought. And if they want to end that other drought, they're going to have to not have any scoring droughts. So, uh, on the 55-year anniversary of the 1967 Stanley Cup champions, the Toronto Maple Leafs defeated the Tampa Bay Lightning 5-0.
If that's not a sign, I don't know what is.
We can find signs in anything, honestly. If we really try to find something,
This
fi-
time, this day, I think in 1934, when they were the St. Pats, they got like 20 goals against the Canadians or something like that, and it was like a record-breaking NHL game or something like that. The St. Pats won the cup that year.
there you go. So maybe it is a sign of things to come. We'll see. We'll see. But this is game one of the playoffs. Definitely, Toronto Sports Chat says amazing. That is a sign.
Toronto Sports Chat. That's a name. We must chat about Toronto sports.
Gotta love the Toronto sports, right? The Toronto
Respect.
Blue Jays tonight. Toronto Blue Jays played the New York
Boba
Yankees.
Shat.
Yeah,
Did they win tonight?
I don't know what this final score was because I was not paying attention to it,
I was
but
watching. It was tied, and then I turned it off.
it was 3-2 Yankees. They extended their winning streak. Yeah,
Damn.
but you know what? Exciting time to be a Toronto sports fan for sure. And if you've got a channel talking about Toronto sports, definitely a good time. Raptors are emerging. Blue Jays, one of the World Series favorites. Toronto Maple Leafs, they're the Leafs. They're in the playoffs, and we're gonna see how that goes.
Yeah, it's. I was in Toronto today actually, and the streets are buzzing right now. I think even just in general, more people are coming back downtown. It's this time of year. Unfortunately, the Raptors are out, but when you got playoff basketball, playoff hockey, baseball kicking off, NHL draft or AHL, it's too many sports right now. NFL draft, NHL draft's going to come up eventually. It's just the kickoff to the most wonderful time coming up, the fall. So right now, down the stretch, we're gonna have a lot of great games coming. MLS, if you're MLS fans, MLS always good to watch. There's so many great things to watch right now,
Definitely,
especially the Toronto Maple Leafs.
definitely. There's so much going on in sports right now. But question about you, Clarky. What is your favorite time of the year to watch sports?
I gave it away at the fall. The
Fall?
fall is my favorite time because it's NFL, NHL, NBA, MLB playoff baseball. You got soccer, or I should say football, another football kicking off. Sometimes you have, I don't know, curling. Curling's always good to watch. I'm a big curling fan. There's a ton of stuff to watch. So, you know, anytime throughout the year. I mean, the World Juniors is coming up. They're moved to
That's
World
right.
Juniors. There's just too much sports right now.
That's right.
It's,
There'll be some more looks at some young Maple Leafs prospects in August.
yeah, who's going to play? Is Owen Power going to play in that?
I believe so, but I'm not certain.
He's not a
I
elite
believe so.
prospect, unfortunately, though.
I mean, it's going to be a different style this year after the delay, but I would expect him to be there for sure. Uh, Toronto sports fans has just started my channel. Usually do Raptors post game recap. Thought I'd
Nice,
change up
nice.
my channel. Good stuff, Toronto sports chat. Keep at it. Remain consistent and have fun with it. That's the most important thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, Claire, go ahead.
No, it's all about having fun. I mean, tonight even like great game coming back on here after seeing some familiar names and new ones. I like hearing people's opinions about anything, whether it's from Kyle Clifford to Lilligren to Spezza to the crowd noise. It's always great to hear different opinions, and it's easier after a win. Don't get me wrong, because if the Leafs, let's say it was 6-0 Tampa, it would have been a harder show to do for sure. But it's pretty easy right now because the Leafs are doing really well. But it's only been one game.
Definitely one game at a time for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Solid start, and they'll be back at it on Wednesday at Scotiabank Arena. Uh, if I'm expecting to see that place as electric as it was tonight.
Game two, yeah, for sure. It seems like you know it always gets busier and busier throughout the series down the stretch. I bet you that square will probably grow as the weather gets warmer too. It's going to be better for people to go out and watch it on patios, watch it in the square, watch it in the middle of the street anywhere. I remember the Raptor viewing parties all over Ontario and in Canada in 2019
Hmm.
in the city squares and whatnot. That's what sports is about. It brings people together and it brings communities together, and it's the passion that unites us all. That's what's the beauty about being Leafs fans, sports fans. It's about coming together and cheering for the team you truly love, and that's the Toronto Maple Leafs for me. And you, I hope, you
Well,
traitor.
I
You're a
mean, I,
Canadiens fan.
I would not miss a Maple Leafs playoff game for anything. So, I mean, I remember like in 2018 or 2019, I was actually at a Blue Jays game, and it was Game 7 of the Bruins Maple Leafs series, and it was an ugly one. I watched that whole thing streaming it on my phone while at the Blue Jays game, and yeah, that was ugly. Didn't leave the Jays game happy, even though Toronto Blue Jays won. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, a couple more comments, and then we're gonna head off here tonight. Cool website says, "Man, that was the single best game the Leafs have played in the Matthews Marner era in every aspect." Interesting, interesting. And you know what? I'd definitely say it's the best playoff game they've played.
Yeah, I mean, you could assume game just because playoffs are more important. So if he means playoff game, then yeah, I agree with that too. I mean, it was just pure dominance and a statement. 5-0. I think it was final score, not 6-0. It was just complete dominance.
Definitely, definitely a dominant performance, and the Maple Leafs hope to do it again on Wednesday for Game 2. If you haven't already, please make sure you smash the like button, hit the notification bell. I'll be back here Wednesday post game. Clarky, thank you for joining me tonight. And do you have closing words for the viewers here on Maple Leafs Media?
I appreciate all the great comments tonight, and the show is always fun for me and Jake, but it's also a lot better when we get a lot of comments in different names, and I read everyone, and it's always great to see the comments, and I just appreciate everyone coming out and listening tonight as well as participating. It's always a great time, and all I got to say is go Leafs go. Job's not finished. It's just getting started. Go Leafs go.
Thank you, Clarky. And thank you, everyone watching this. Until next time, I'm Jake Farco. Thank you.